Hey guys, it's Tiqqle, and it's on the eve of 7.3 coming out tomorrow. I'm really excited. I hope you are too. In this video, we're going to focus on a few things. As an elemental shaman, as you all are, we're going to get a few changes, and I want to go over those pretty quickly with you. I'm not going to read the patch notes. I want to highlight each specific change to each skill and artifact trait, and there's a tier set upgrade I figured I'd throw in there anyway. So let's get into it. So starting with the spells. First, there was an overall damage increase of 6% to all abilities except for Chain Lightning. Sorry. But this will be a pretty big buff. Assuming that this is also going into the PvP template, this will be a nice adjustment for Elemental Shaman. I don't know if it's enough to make them extremely, top tier in PvP, but I'm really looking forward to this because not everyone's getting this type of adjustment. Some people are getting a larger adjustment, but Ellie's getting something, and I appreciate that. And this is going along with some other changes too, so it might stack up pretty nicely. Next, there's an Earthquake buff of 19% damage. As you can see here from the differences of the skills, this is an increase of the spell power scaling, and Blizzard, instead of just noting the spell power scaling increase, they've actually done us a favor and said how much damage increase this is. So they've said that this is about a 19% damage increase. This will be nice for when throwing this down under double melees in PvP, and for PvE, I'm sure this will help Mythic Pluses and AoE trash pulls, so I think this is pretty nice. Earthshock is the next skill. This is getting a 7% damage increase, which will be great for PvP, seeing as this is something that really is something that can trigger blowing cooldowns and trying to pop someone on an Earthshock stun, so this will be really great. Frostshock's getting a plus 13% damage increase, which will be great for Ice Fury, and as everyone knows, everyone uses Ice Fury, so hello. I need to make sure I use all my stacks myself. Next, Elemental Blast. Elemental Blast is getting 7% damage increase, but is getting a minus 400 stat proc decrease, which is actually pretty significant. You can, as Elemental Shamans know, when you cast this skill, you can get 1 proc of the stat increase, but if your Mastery procs, you can get up to 2. So this is really a pretty big stat decrease and nerf for Elemental Blast, seeing as those secondary stats contribute a lot to your overall damage, not just this one ability's damage. Next is a pretty big change. What Blizzard has done has increased the damage from our Mastery proc. So when I cast a Lava Burst, it has a chance to proc a secondary Lava Burst. The damage of that second Lava Burst has gone up by 10%, but the proc rate's gone down by 17%. Now, a lot of people are really upset about this, but I question, now that the item level is getting up and up and up and up and up, and with Argus I'm sure it will continue to go higher, we're going to have more mastery than ever. So decreasing the proc rate, minus 17, might not be a big deal because we have that much more secondary stats. That's kind of PvE slant. For PvP, I'm not sure how the template's going to change, and we don't really have transparency into how the PvP template for Ellie Shaman is going to be adjusted. But assuming that things continue to scale up, this might not be that big of a deal if we have more mastery, and then it kind of compensates for the reduced proc rate. So overall, I'm taking this one as a buff. I'm taking this one as a damage buff. When it happens, you're going to be hitting harder. When it's time to go ham, you're going to be doing more damage, hopefully. So that's where I'm going to place that. Next, there's a for Totem Mastery, or little totems you can throw out. This is getting a slight nerf. It's decreasing the chance to trigger Elemental Overload. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of things done here, but one of the totems, Storm Totem, increases the chance of Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning to trigger Elemental Overload by, and they're reducing that from 10 to 5%, which is a little bit of a nerf. So that's the skills. For the artifact traits, there's a pretty big change with Static Overload. So Chain Lightning previously had a 10% chance to cause Elemental Overload on each target, meaning if I'm in PvP, I Chain Lightning all 3 people, it could proc a secondary Chain Lightning on each of those targets. In PvE, I mean, this is a much bigger deal in PvE. If you're hitting, 5 targets, that could have a chance to proc 5 times. So recasting Chain Lightning on each of those targets is huge, spiky damage. Now, what they've changed this into is, instead of Chain Lightning getting that, chance, now after you use Stormkeeper, your next Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning causes Elemental Overload to trigger on every target. So every target only really matters to Chain Lightning. For Lightning Bolt, it'll just be that one target that you're hitting, but it basically guarantees that you're going to get your proc of Mastery here. it's more of a control burst. For Chain Lightning, it's a little bit bigger of a deal. If I have 3 targets in PvP next to each other and I use that, that'll be a pretty big damage proc. If I have my Power of the Maelstrom up, and I'm using Lightning Bolt on a single target, I know it's going to be doing that double proc, so it's still pretty good. I mean, if you think about this from a PvP perspective, it's a buff, because Chain Lightning honestly wasn't really that useful before. Obviously, you could cleave down sometimes, but not usually, especially not when you're going for a kill, you know, maybe only with the rock comp. So I think this is overall buff. So the last change here for Ellie is that the 2-piece now reduces the cooldown of the Storm Elemental by 2 seconds, and it was only 1.5 seconds. So this is actually a buff of the amount of decrease that's going into the Storm Elemental ability. So that's good news. And that's really it. Now, these are a few changes, but I think there's a lot of buffs here for Ellie in PvP. I'm personally really excited about that. You'll see a lot more videos on my channel with me playing Ellie this season, specifically right off the bat. I kind of cheated on Ellie for a little bit there with turbos and enhance, but I'm back to Ellie. Been having a great time. So let me know what you guys think of these changes, what you guys think of the patch coming up. Whatever class you're playing, maybe it's Ellie, maybe it's enhanced, maybe it's something different. Put it down in the comments below. It's about to be Tuesday. It's about to be patch day. I'm so pumped. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next videos very, very soon. Thanks everybody for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the social links in the bottom, including the blog I've just started, and I'll see you guys in the next video.